From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Thanks for joining us this morning. It is Friday, December 5th. I'm Max Darrow. Let's open up the windows and get this day started.
I still have a lot of faith in this community, and that's why I want to stay.
Oakland business owners worried yet hopeful about the future of public safety as the city looks for a new police chief. They weigh in on whether crime will continue to go down or not in Oakland.
We watched the formation of this huge cloud as it gradually thickened in depth.
New findings in the soil are drawing concern in Monterey County months after the toxic fire at a Moss Landing battery plant. The growing fallout as neighbors react. A major day for soccer fans across the Bay Area as the World Cup schedule starts to take shape today. What we'll learn about the matches coming to Levi's Stadium next summer.
When you walk in, look at this. The whole idea is that you're seeing nature, you're seeing landscape.
And it's a holiday favorite for a reason. The enchanting lights at the Oakland Zoo. Why it's really a love letter to the town.
It is a busy Friday here in the Bay Area, but first we'll start with the king tide. It continues to bring more flooding to low-lying coastal areas. What you're looking at here was video from our chopper of Shoreline Highway in Sausalito. The area totally flooded out there. Not totally unexpected, Jess Birch, as that's one of the low-lying spots that gets hit by the king tide, but nonetheless, plenty to talk about with these king tides today, huh?
Exactly. And community members in these areas know the drill, especially the few times a year where we do see these king tides return to the Bay Area. It's for all the highlighted zones and counties on this map in green, including the entire mouth of the bay, stretched all the way down closer to Redwood City, just along that coastline, and all the way down into places like Santa Cruz, all the way off into Monterey as well. Let's head back to the Bay, though. I want to talk about some other things going on for us as we take a look at temperatures specifically. I'm going to turn off the rest of the colors and focus on something else the National Weather Service has issued, because that green color was the coastal flood advisory. The blue color you see below me is cold weather advisories, and current temperatures right now are sitting in the 30s, anywhere from Antioch all the way up into Santa Rosa. We're off to a chilly start this morning. This is the time of year where you're going to want to protect your plants. If you have outdoor pets, bring them in, snuggle them up, maybe give them a bath first, of course. But here's what's happening as we head into this afternoon. 60s in store for us this afternoon. I'll talk more about this weekend coming up in just a bit. Back to you.
Looks like a chilly start to the day. Thanks for that, Jess. A memorial event is set for tonight in Oakland to honor legendary football coach John Beam. The Laney College athletic director died after he was shot on campus back on November 13th. He devoted decades of his life to mentoring and coaching athletes, many of them going on to become NFL greats. Skyline High School alumni are hosting the event to celebrate his life and his contributions to the community. It starts at 6 o'clock tonight at Everett and Jones Restaurant on Broadway. Meantime, big changes today for Oakland's public safety leadership. Police Chief Floyd Mitchell will officially step down today. Assistant Chief James Beer will take over as interim chief of police. Now, one of the biggest challenges the next chief will face is dealing with crimes like this. A group of thieves smashed their way into a small business and ransacked the place. These high-profile crimes really shake a lot of people in the community. Katie Nielsen, she spoke with a pair of business owners about their hopes for the new chief. One who is considering leaving the town, and another who is putting down more roots in the place he calls home.
We have, little small hole in the wall here at the restaurants.
Alan Liang was born and raised in Oakland and now runs a handful of businesses out of his building off the Hagenberger corridor, including 2 restaurants, an auto body shop, and an impound lot for a towing company.
Body shop, we're doing pretty okay. We're busy.
He says crime in the area has really impacted all of his businesses.
Across the street is the gas station. They used to rob people there, and we would witness it on a daily basis. A lot of that stuff. Break-ins, we had one maybe 2 weeks ago. Both warehouses.
He says the turnover with multiple police chiefs in the city of Oakland over the past few years is a big part of the problem, because criminals see the city as a place where they can get away with anything.
People think it's okay for them to continue to commit crimes here in Oakland, and they know that it's a very slim chance that they're going to get caught.
Across town in the Laurel, Richard Santana is actually expanding his coffee business, Cafe Santana, and just recently bought a new building to open another location just a mile away.
I believe in Oakland. I believe that it is a very appealing place to be. The diversity, the culture, the food.
He says buying the new building is a major investment for him and his family in the future of the city. But as an Oakland native, there weren't many other viable options.
Sure, we have doubts sometimes, especially opening up a business. But this is a beautiful place to be. And I'm going to do my part to make it a productive, loving, caring community.
Santana says while the chief of police is an important role in the city, it's not the only factor when it comes to issues with crime.
My hope is that it doesn't just fall on this one person, and that as a city, there are efforts being made to make the community safe, to invest in the community.
While both business owners have differing opinions on the issues surrounding crime in the city, they both are committed for the same reason. It's home.
I still have a lot of faith in this community, and that's why I want to stay.
I'm staying here because this is home. This is my life. This is where I want to be.
This morning, we are following two separate stabbings in San Francisco. One of them involved a social worker at Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital, who this morning is in critical condition. A patient at the hospital stabbed that worker. Investigators say the patient first threatened a doctor at SF General's HIV clinic. The sheriff's office says they sent a deputy who, on arrival, heard a disturbance in the hallway and found the patient stabbing the social worker in the neck and shoulders. The deputy was able to restrain that suspect. That person now is in custody. Meanwhile, an inmate is recovering after being stabbed during a fight at a San Francisco jail. We're told deputies recovered a folding knife at the scene yesterday. The victim went to the hospital. The suspect remains in custody. An investigation is underway. Moving around the Bay now for headlines in your community. We'll start in the South Bay. The man accused of killing a San Francisco father over a parking space is finally in custody. It has taken police 4 years to track down Uatasoni Joseph Pasi. Police say he fled the country after shooting Marco Antonio Santos in front of his family during a parking spot dispute back in 2021. 2 weeks ago, U.S. and Mexican authorities found the fugitive in Rosarito, Mexico. On Tuesday, he was brought back to the United States. Today, Senator Adam Schiff is in San Francisco to promote a new plan to increase affordable housing nationwide. He's hosting a press conference at a new housing site with San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie and East Bay Congresswoman Latifah Simon. The LA Times reports Schiff's bill would create a $10 billion annual loan fund and a $5 million grant program to build more homes for low and middle income families. The proposal would also help cities turn hotels and other empty buildings into transitional housing or homeless shelters. Democrats in Congress, they are making affordability, especially housing costs, a central part of their message as they look ahead to the midterm elections. A North Bay town's ban on the sale of tobacco products goes into effect today. Tiburon in Marin County is the first place in the nation to establish a complete ban with no exemptions. The town council gave its final approval to the ordinance about a month ago. A group of local high school students took part in a push to get the law on the books. They have raised concerns about exposure to smokers, even after California raised the legal age to purchase tobacco from 18 to 21 back in 2016. Now they're calling for similar bans elsewhere in the country. Now to Monterey County, where a massive cleanup effort is underway nearly a year after a fire ignited inside the Moss Landing Vistra power plant. It is the largest battery facility in the world. The plant burned for several days, sending massive plumes of thick smoke into the air. Researchers from San Jose State University are now revealing what they found in the soil just days after the fire. 55,000 pounds of toxic metals within just a mile of the plant. Our new Central Coast reporter Scott Rates is in Moss Landing with a breakdown of the findings and reaction from people who live nearby.
Well, this newly released study consisted of a portion of the Elkhorn Slough, about 300 acres. Researchers say that they determined that about 55,000 pounds of toxic metal blanketed that area. We're talking about things like cobalt and nickel, things you would find in a lithium-ion battery. Now, nearly a year after the fire, neighbors out here tell me that these findings are concerning.
When I looked out the window and I saw the flames, I immediately started getting all my evacuation stuff together.
We watched the formation of this huge cloud as it gradually thickened in depth and came towards our houses.
It wasn't a normal fire. It was fueled.
For the folks who live here at Moss Landing, memories of this are still at the forefront.
Federal, state, and county people showed up at this huge fire unprepared.
Now, for the first time, we are learning about the chemical compounds that came from that thick smoke down into the soil. Researchers at San Jose State's Moss Landing Marine Lab have been monitoring the Elkhorn Slough area.
The slough is screwed.
According to the report, researchers found elevated levels of copper, nickel, manganese, and cobalt in soil samples. These heavy metals found in lithium-ion batteries can be toxic.
That dirt blows over the top of us every night.
They finding 55,000 pounds of heavy metals falling into the estuary proves that pollution was carried by the plume downwind.
The thing that really strikes me as unconscionable is to have an enormous facility with that kind of risk right next to sensitive wetlands.
As we're learning more about the environmental fallout, a massive cleanup process is currently underway under the oversight of the EPA. The burnt batteries have been disconnected from one another and removed. However, there is still more work that needs to be done. The EPA would not comment on the new findings, only saying that it is overseeing Vistra as it conducts air sampling. Now, the question on everyone's mind who lives here is, will this battery plant come back online?
Battery storage is a really important green concept, but it needs to be away from sensitive areas.
So you think if they put this thing back online, there's a good chance it could happen again?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, no, I know. There's no doubt in my mind.
It is 6/11, a major ruling in the nationwide redistricting battle. The Supreme Court says Texas can use its redrawn congressional map. We'll give you their reasoning when we come back. And it is a day that soccer fans have been waiting for a long time. The World Cup show that will help us learn which teams will eventually take the field at Levi's Stadium. And let's take you live outside before we head to break. This is a look from the top of the Mark. You should be able to see the Golden Gate Bridge off in the distance, but it is a foggy start to the day. We'll talk with Jess when we come back. Welcome back. Watching live video from our many monitors that bring us headlines from across the globe. The U.S. military under new scrutiny after the latest strike on a suspected drug boat in the Eastern Pacific killed 4 men on board. The Pentagon says a designated terrorist group operated the vessel and was moving drugs along a major trafficking route. That attack came just hours after a Navy admiral briefed Congress on a separate September strike near Venezuela, when a follow-up hit killed survivors clinging to a capsized boat. The admiral told lawmakers Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth never gave a kill everyone order. The Democrats say the secret video they saw raises serious legal questions, even as some Republicans defend the campaign. The U.S. Supreme Court says Texas can use its newly redrawn congressional map. That's despite a lower court ruling that the map likely violates the Constitution and illegally dilutes the political power of Black and Latino voters. Conservative justices on the High Court say they are allowing the map because it is too close to the primary in March to change it again. Republican lawmakers in Texas hope to gain as many as 5 congressional seats to try and preserve a House majority for the GOP in the next year's midterm election. In response, voters here in California passed Prop 50 to add as many as 5 Democratic seats. A Republican lawsuit against that measure is now pending. The FBI has identified the suspect in the D.C. pipe bomb case as 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. He was arrested yesterday at a home in Virginia that he shares with his parents. Cole is accused of placing pipe bombs outside offices of the Republican and Democratic National Committees on the night before the U.S. Capitol attack on January 6, 2021. He faces 2 federal explosive charges. So far, authorities have not described a possible motive. Let's take you live outside now on this Friday morning. We have made it to Friday, and we've got another beautiful view to start the day, Jess. It's been a good week of them.
It's been a good week, but let's be honest, I'm stoked for the weekend. I'm sure everybody is too, especially after a holiday weekend that we just had. Here's what's happening for us as we head outside this morning, off to a chilly, and I really mean it, chilly start. I can't say freezing because we're not at freezing level, but we're pretty close in places like Antioch as we wake up this morning. I want to highlight some zones and counties on this map in blue. That's that cold weather advisory issued by the National Weather Service, and it stretches all the way up into Napa, Sonoma, all throughout those valleys. So be very careful out there this morning. This is the time of year where I'm going to start saying it. Protect the plants outside, protect your pets. If you have outdoor pets, this is the time to bring them in, bundle them up. Here's what's happening for us as we head outside into this afternoon. Some changes into our temperatures. Of course, we're gearing up for 60s once again today from San Francisco across the Bay Bridge over into Oakland. I'm going to highlight some other areas on this map real fast just to check this off the list. You see all that gray over into the Sacramento Valley? If you live near Solano County or just anywhere throughout the Delta, you definitely know the drill during this time of year. That Thule fog pulls its way into the bay, and that dense fog advisory will last throughout the next couple of hours. Of course, surface visibility isn't the best, so just be very careful out there on the roads as you're commuting into work or school. Now, along our coastal communities, it's also important to note that the king tides have returned. We've definitely noticed that already this week. This stretches down into places like Santa Cruz, all the way down into Monterey, and of course, back here in the Bay too. Sausalito is a good example. We've been seeing localized flooding, and as you're heading off to work and school this morning, you could keep that in mind too. Be very careful out there on the roads in these communities. Now, I'm going to drop that, and we're going to head right back to that dense fog advisory, though, because I want to show you that Thule fog. It's been very stubborn, stretches 400 miles wide throughout the Sacramento Valley, and it is pulling its way into Solano County for the most part. So visibility for the most part not good until around 11 o'clock. That's when it starts to pull back. We'll see partly cloudy skies into this afternoon and beautiful weather as we head into this weekend. Yesterday was a very mild day for us. We're seeing a repeat again today. Sunny skies into this afternoon. Saturday's looking similar, and diving into early next week, we'll see some clouds starting to roll in from offshore, but really nothing to write home about. It is going to be a dry setup for us throughout the next 7 days. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Jess. Let's talk traffic on this Friday morning. It is pretty quiet out there to start the day. Just a couple of hot spots showing up on the maps this morning. So let's start in Fairfield. Westbound Highway 12, east of Abernathy Road, there is a crash there. It is affecting traffic flow, so be ready to take it slow if you are headed through that area this morning. Let's head over to the Altamont Pass now. We're seeing top speeds of about 35 miles per hour. Looks like it'll take about 40 minutes or so to get through that stretch, so not too bad. Looking live now at the Bay Bridge. Still a lot of people out there this morning. There's a hot spot on the upper deck that's causing a little bit more of a backup than usual and adding some more time to the commute. It's on westbound 80, just west of Treasure Island Road, so expect a bit of a crawl as you head into the city this morning. That is a look at your morning commute. 6:20 on this Friday morning. Need some plans for the holidays? Consider taking a trip with us to one of the standout celebrations in Oakland. Coming up. The Oakland Zoo is hosting its 6th annual Glowfari. They have many new themes this year and something special that the team is proud to share. Suji Nam spoke to the zoo's CEO about how Glowfari has become a love letter to Oakland.
So this is my favorite part that we're coming to.
It's the most wonderful time of the year for Oakland Zoo CEO Nick DeHagia.
When you come and see this, you see the landmarks in Oakland. The Fox Theater, Chabot Space and Science Center, Children's Fairyland, Oakland Museum.
It's Glowfari's newest exhibit called The Future of Oakland.
We have so much conflict with wildlife, not just in Oakland, in the Bay Area. How do we ensure that animals, this is their home as well? How do they thrive and coexist together? Overpasses, sometimes it's underpasses.
Sitting in the morning sun.
It's a glowing love letter to the city of Oakland.
The Tribune building.
DeHagia and his team have been building these light exhibits throughout the zoo for more than a month. And now, colorful lanterns illuminate the sky.
Our regional transit, BART right here. And you know what's exciting about this? When you walk in, look at this. The whole idea is that you're seeing nature. You're seeing landscape.
Those lights, look.
Matt Greeny and his children visit the zoo at least once a week.
The Oakland Zoo is one of the jewels that the city has to offer, and in general the East Bay.
It's their first time at Glowfari, but certainly won't be their last.
We already have our tickets for next month too.
Bringing joy to families like the Greenies.
Thanks for coming to Glowfari.
Inspires DeHagia, who has been with the Oakland Zoo for the past 20 years.
This place brings so much joy to people every day. With the thousands of people that come in, almost 1 million every year.
And as he strolls through the Bug World exhibit, he's proud to see it all come to life.
Kind of scary.
Well, maybe not supersized bugs come to life.
Think about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and here I am inside a log. How do I get out?
This holiday season, Dehejia hopes to send this message.
Nature is not a place to visit, it's our home. And that's what this is in Oakland. This is our home.
Whether you admire the twinkling lights from the sky or from the ground, he wants to share his dreams of a brighter future for the city he loves.
If you'd like to go check this out for yourself, Glofari runs through January 25th. San Francisco got into the holiday spirit last night. Uncle John's Christmas tree in Golden Gate Park was adorned with lights and lit up for a big crowd. And at Pier 39, the tourist hotspot is decked out for the holidays as well. Santa helped light up the 60-foot Christmas tree. There are plenty more holiday events happening this weekend. Here are some of them set for tonight. Santa Clara holds its annual tree lighting at 5:30 in Central Park. In Half Moon Bay, a lighted parade moves along Main Street. That starts at 6:15. And Fairfield has a tree lighting event of its own at 6:30 at Texas and Jefferson Streets. The time is 6:26. Netflix is set to become the biggest streaming service as it confirms a deal to buy Warner Brothers. Love the details coming up. Set out live now to Veronica Macias with some of the World Cup excitement. This is the first taste we're going to get. Hey, Veronica.
It's a long process. And hey, it's Friday. There's a watch party going on. A selection here for the World Cup 2026. We're going to talk about the process when we come back.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
It is just about half past the hour, and we are giving you a live look at the beautiful city by the bay. The lights twinkling as the sun begins to rise on this Friday morning. Jessica Birch, that's a fantastic view of the place we call home.
I like it. The contrast is very subtle right now, and if you stay tuned with us throughout the next 15, 20, 30, just stay for the whole hour, please. As we do that, we're going to be seeing that sunrise turn into even more beautiful colors. Here's what's happening for us as we head outside this morning, off to a very chilly start. I'm not going to say freezing, but near freezing, actually, in some communities, all the way over into places like Antioch, stretched all the way up into the North Bay. I'm highlighting some zones and counties on this map that are currently under a cold weather advisory. Yeah, you heard it right. All the way from the National Weather Service, they've issued that for this morning until around 8 a.m. So we're going to continue to keep a close eye on those microclimates. And as we head into this afternoon, let's take a look at those daytime highs. We're gearing up for 60s into this afternoon, anywhere from the East Bay stretched down into the Santa Clara Valley. Some 50s trickled in there too. You see below me that green color, it's a coastal flood advisory that stays in effect until Sunday. At the same time, that gray pulling in from the Sacramento Valley, that's that dense fog advisory. The Tule fog is back impacting Solano County this morning. I'll have more on that coming up in just a bit. Back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Jess. The USGS promising improvements after a false alarm Thursday morning. A shake alert warned of a 5.9 magnitude earthquake in Nevada, but that quake never actually happened. USGS says 4 sensors about 10 miles northeast of Carson City incorrectly detected a large earthquake, and that caused alerts to go out. But they say an earthquake that big could have been felt as far away as San Francisco. So that's why so many of you got that alert here in the Bay Area.
Everything on the processing side and the alert delivery side happened exactly the way it should have. What happened is that something happened out there in the field that we don't know what occurred.
Officials say an investigation is ongoing to eventually improve the alert system. Recalled Alameda County District Attorney Pamela Price is mounting a campaign to win her old job back. When voters elected her in 2022, she promised to bring progressive reforms to the office. She didn't make it through her term, though. Voters, they removed her from office after a successful recall about a year ago, and that came after months of criticism over her approach to crime and public safety. Andrea Nakano explains why Price believes she deserves another shot and why her opponents say voters have already said no once.
We will have a few speakers, and then we are standing here before you today in love, out of a love for our community, a love for our families, a love of justice.
Pamela Price announced plans to run for Alameda County District Attorney Thursday, a position she was recalled from in November 2024. Brenda Grisham, a victim's advocate, led the recall campaign. She says she was surprised by the announcement and doesn't believe things will be any different the second time around.
You know, we've been watching her over the year, and I don't see any change. You know, you can say what you're going to do, which is what you should have did in the first place. If you coming into that office, the victims are a very, very important part of the district attorney's office. And to be able to have a communication line with the victims is key. And that was never there.
Price vowed to tackle gun violence and Trump administration policies. She says she was compelled to get her old job back after seeing ICE raids in communities across the county.
I will say to ICE and any other federal agents who violate state law, F around and find out. No one is above the law, and I will stand for firmness in every case and fairness. Real justice applies to everyone. Justice cannot be bought by billionaires.
But Grisham, who lost her son to gun violence in 2010, feels victims didn't get the justice they deserved under Price's term. Criticism for taking too soft of a stance on crime fueled much of the momentum behind Price's recall.
I was there for the Kevin Nishida case. I was there for, you know, the little Emiliana. You know, there was no special circumstances. I mean, they killed that little 5-year-old girl in front of her family, and there was no special circumstances. There was nothing.
Price, though, feels the political climate has changed since the recall. She says since President Trump has taken office, the political pendulum has swung to the left, with voters looking to elect progressive district attorneys.
In 2024 in Alameda County, we saw that same carnage. The destabilization of our justice system by a billionaire, a single billionaire, and his wannabe wealthy friends who spent millions of dollars on a recall campaign to destabilize our justice system.
During Price's term, Oakland saw the highest number of murders in the past decade, with 114 in 2023. Many other violent crime categories saw significant increases as well. Grisham says Price still refuses to acknowledge that the people of Alameda County wanted a district attorney that would help make communities safer.
The whole time she's been bypassing the fact that they're everyday citizens that felt they needed change, and she ignored them. And she's still ignoring them because she's just going with the billionaires and this, that, and the third. That's not, you know, you got to sit down and look in the mirror and say, it might have been me.
Alameda County District Attorney Ursula Jones-Dixon shared a statement on Price's announcement, saying in part, former DA Pamela Price was recalled by 63% of voters. She's welcome to make the case less than a year after that recall that they were wrong. I trust the judgment of Alameda County voters. Moving around the Bay now for headlines in your community. Negotiations are picking up again as teachers strike in the East Bay. That enters a second day. More than 1,000 teachers walked off the job on Thursday in the West Contra Costa Unified School District. The two sides are at odds over numerous issues, including salaries and health benefits. The union rejected the district's offer of a 3% raise. The district said it is the highest it can go because of its budget deficit. Negotiators then returned to the bargaining table late yesterday. Schools are still open during the strike. We are learning more about the mother and child killed in a fiery crash on Highway 87 in San Jose. A crowdfunding site has identified the victims as Ivana Balistreri and her baby daughter, Liliana. Her loved ones say Ivana was a pure spirit who loved those around her with all of her heart, and that Liliana, quote, brought so much joy in her short time here. On Tuesday, around 11 o'clock in the morning, they were in a Lexus that was involved in a crash with 2 Teslas. Their family is urging anybody who has videos or information to come forward as the investigation into this crash continues. Drivers in Napa could be seeing more red light cameras because apparently they're yielding results. The cameras are issuing a citation every 3 hours, whereas the department's 4-person traffic unit issues about 300 to 500 citations a month. Police say they want to expand the red light program to make streets safer. According to the Press Democrat, Napa's first red light camera, which was activated in January at Soscol and Lincoln Avenues, generated just under 15,000 warnings and violations in its first 9 months of operation. Well, excitement for next year's World Cup is reaching a new high in the Bay Area and beyond. Today is the final draw, and we will learn which groups the teams will be placed into. Let's go now to Veronica Macias live at Levi Stadium, where we know several games will be played. Veronica, this weekend we will learn which teams are coming to town next summer, right?
So many people excited about this, right? You know, I know a lot of people who actually entered the early ticket draw. In my family, it was an obligation by one of our uncles. Sadly, we didn't have any luck. We kept checking those emails. But a lot of people in the Bay Area here in Santa Clara maybe will be here this summer if you're lucky at Levi Stadium. And we're still months away, right? But in the next few hours, the ultimate soccer spectacle is happening. We know that the 48 teams will be sorted out into 12 groups, 4 teams each. Now, let's take a look. All of this happening on the other side of the country in just a few hours. All eyes, the eyes of the world, you can say, will be at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. as FIFA officials unveil an updated match schedule. However, the teams won't know until Saturday the location and kickoff times for each match. The draw, it's based on a pot system. Ahead of the draw, all teams have been placed into 4 pots. Which pot a team goes into is based on their most recent FIFA ranking. Pot 1, for example, will hold the top ranking teams along with the 3 host countries, the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. And all of this an advantage for the U.S. There are rules, so it's a very long process. There can only be up to 2 European teams per group. This draw, it plays out in the next few hours at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The format and process a little different this year. Here in Santa Clara, there's a watch party that's happening at PayPal Park, and we're going to be catching up with soccer fans there later today at noon. And Max, you know what's nice about the process this year is that FIFA officials are actually taking into consideration the kickoff times for each country so that fans can maybe wake up at reasonable hours or watch their games at a reasonable hours. I remember, Mom, a big soccer fan from Mexico, hearing maybe some crying in my younger years when Mexico didn't score. And I was thinking, what is going on here? Early in the morning, she'd be loyal waking up to watch her team play.
You know, there are so many fans here that do that on a routine basis. I have heard the same stories, Veronica. Friends waking up at 2:30 in the morning to watch their team. Definitely an exciting time here in the Bay Area. Thank you for that update from Levi Stadium. All right, time is 6:40 in the morning. Halle Berry calling out Governor Gavin Newsom after saying, quote, "He probably shouldn't be our next president." Her reasoning coming up. And it is known as the Tech Emmys, so you can bet the Bay Area was pretty well represented. We'll tell you who took home some of the big awards coming up. And let's take you live outside. Before we head to break, a beautiful shot there. Jess will have your forecast when we come back. Welcome back. We are watching live video from our many monitors that bring us headlines from across the globe. Halle Berry is blasting Governor Gavin Newsom for vetoing a menopause care bill. During a presentation in New York on Wednesday, the Oscar-winning actress claimed Newsom devalues women's health and should not become the next United States president. Berry had advocated for AB 432, a measure that sought to expand menopausal care and coverage. The White House says President Trump has a new architect to oversee construction of his new ballroom. Trump and the current architect, who'll stay on as a consultant, did clash over the size and scope of the project. Construction started on the ballroom in October, leading to the demolition of the White House's historic East Wing. The president says the $300 million project is being privately funded. The Bay Area was well represented at the 76th Annual Technology and Engineering Emmy Awards in New York.
Where would we be without geeky engineers? Where would we get our TV? What would we do without geniuses like you?
CBS News Sunday morning correspondent David Pogue opened last night's ceremony with a special song. The National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences honored the best in tech and engineering, celebrating breakthrough innovations in broadcast. San Francisco-based company Dolby was awarded the prestigious Pioneering Emmy Award for its mastering HDR display. which forever changed the industry. Dolby's groundbreaking technology called Pulsar created a new level of brightness, detail, and color that had never been seen before on a TV.
Proud and accomplished, because what we fundamentally did was change the way images are viewed today around the world. When we first started this project, many thought what we were doing was impossible. So this truly is a testament to the leadership and trust that they put in me and my team to be able to execute on this vision.
These are the awards for the innovators and engineers who created the tools and the processes that made it possible to make your favorite shows, to cover your favorite events, and to deliver that amazing television to your home, to your mobile device.
Bay Area tech companies, Google, Adobe, and Apple all also received awards. Here's something you might not know. The very first Emmy Award in 1949 was actually for television technology. The more you know. Let's take a live look now outside on this Friday morning. This is a shot from atop Mount Diablo. You are looking back towards the city. Typically, you'd be able to make out Mount Tam on that, but from my eyes, I don't think I can, Jess.
You know, it's been an interesting week. We've been talking a lot about the dense fog advisory over into the Sacramento Valley. Today, it pulls its way over into Solano County, so visibility is not the best right now in certain microclimates. I want to start off in order, though, with some things going on for us before we get to that fog. Starting off with these early morning hour temperatures, we're sitting in the 30s and low 40s throughout the East Bay. You see that blue color next to me stretched all the way up into Napa, Sonoma, off into the East Bay too. What we're dealing with right now at the valley floors is a cold weather advisory issued by the National Weather Service. And that's just one of many advisories issued by them. Let's turn on some others real fast and show you our daytime highs. We're gearing up for 60s as we head into this afternoon. That green color you see below me is that coastal flood advisory. This stretches all the way down into places like Monterey and up into Santa Cruz too. But let's head back to the Bay real fast, because places like Sausalito have been dealing with localized flooding, especially in those low-lying areas. So if you work in these areas, and if you're commuting to work or school this morning, or if you even live in these areas, be very careful out there on the roads. This is possible until Sunday as the king tides have returned to the Bay. We're going to keep a close eye on that. And by the way, remember that dense fog advisory we were just talking about? That's stretched all the way throughout the Sacramento Valley today, but that does pull its way into the Delta, close to Solano County. And that gray color, that dense fog advisory, also issued by the National Weather Service, will expire around 11 a.m. this morning. At that point, daytime highs are going to rise to the upper 50s and lower 60s, so a pretty mild forecast for us today once we head into this afternoon. To talk a little bit more about that fog, though, it stretches 400 miles deep all along the Sacramento Valley, but it does pull its way over closer to places like Antioch, stretched all the way over into Concord and Walnut Creek. We can see a little bit of that this morning too, but that will clear up as we head into the afternoon hours. Let's take a look at the next 7 days real fast. Not a lot of changes in store for us as we head into the next 7, which for the most part is good news. I mean, not a drop of rain in sight. We'll see some morning fog with a little bit of mist along the coast, but upper 50s and lower 60s are the trend each day throughout the Bay. And notice how as I pull up our inland forecast directly below me, there's not much of a change over in these communities either, from the South Bay off into the East Bay, throughout wine country. We're all sitting hand in hand right now for this time of year when it comes to these highs. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Jess. Let's take a live look at the Bay Bridge this morning. Metering lights are on. Traffic is crawling right now. We're still watching that earlier crash on westbound 80 just past the Treasure Island Road. The right lanes are blocked. Speeds are down to about 6 miles per hour. It's taken roughly an hour to make it through the span, so cue up the Friday playlist. It is going to be a long one if you are just getting on the roads there. When it comes to public transit, though, it is looking pretty good this morning. No major delays to report at this hour. But plan ahead for Sunday, because there's going to be no green line service all day and single tracking between Fremont and Hayward until 5 p.m. as crews clear vegetation. It could impact service, but all other lines will be running normally, so just keep that in mind as you look ahead towards Sunday. So look at your morning commute today. College football and Cal make it official. Oregon defensive coordinator Tosh Lupoi is now Cal's next head coach. It'll be a homecoming for the Walnut Creek native. He's out of the De La Salle football factory. Lupoi was a defensive lineman at Cal and landed his first coaching job in Berkeley. With just under 3 weeks until Christmas, Bay Area food banks are working around the clock to help brighten the holidays for families in need. Kevin Coe is in Oakland with a magical boost to those efforts.
Right outside the Community Engagement Center here at the Alameda County Community Food Bank. And what better way to engage with your community than give back? And that's exactly what Target is doing today here with this gigantic check. Sir, I got to ask you, what went into this contribution?
Really, this contribution represents Target's commitment to serving our local community. The Alameda County Community Food Bank is a great representation of service and supporting the needs of those at the local level. We have a shared value for ensuring that no one in the community goes hungry, so what a better way to support than offering this $100,000 corporate grant.
Yes, and $100,000 going straight to the Alameda County Community Food Bank. Here with the executive director, which I have to ask, what exactly is all this money going to be helping towards?
The great thing about this check is that this is going to lead to about 200,000 nutritious meals that are going directly to our community members. Here in Alameda County, about 1 in 4 people are struggling with food insecurity. This is going to ensure that a lot of people have a really good holiday season with their families.
A lot of meals, but folks, it's not enough. You see that QR code on your screen? Go ahead and donate. Back to you.
Our Food for Bay Area Families initiative continues through the holiday season, and if you do want to support local food banks, you can scan that QR code on your screen. Head to kpix.com/give. There you'll be able to donate food, funds, or your time to food banks all across the Bay Area in your neighborhood. And be sure to join us for our holiday special, Stories of Hope. That airs Christmas night at 7 o'clock p.m. You can see the inspiring stories behind the efforts to feed families all across the Bay Area. The time is 6:51. It's a reimagined version of the Nutcracker. What's changing this year for a holiday tradition in San Francisco? And let's take you live outside for another shot of the Bay Bridge on this foggy start to the day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now time for your Moneywatch report. Let's give you a live look at the big board this morning, starting the day out a little bit in the green, which is always a nice thing to see. Better green than red. Netflix is buying Warner Brothers Discovery for $72 billion. The media mega deal could reshape the industry. If approved, the studio and streaming giants will be joining forces. Netflix dominates the on-demand content market and has streaming hits like Stranger Things and Squid Game. The legacy Hollywood studio, Warner Brothers Discovery, is home to Harry Potter and Superman franchises, plus HBO Max. The cash and stock deal is valued at about $28 per share. Employers this year have cut more than 1.1 million jobs through November. An outplacement firm called Challenger, Gray & Christmas says that is the largest number since 2020. Back then, companies laid off more than 2 million people as the pandemic was hitting the U.S. economy. This time, tech firms are driving the surge in job cuts, with more than 150,000 workers in that sector losing their jobs through November. That adds up to a 17% jump over the same period a year ago. Facebook's parent company Meta is slashing the budget of the so-called Metaverse team by as much as 30%. 4 years ago, CEO Mark Zuckerberg said the Metaverse would be, quote, the successor to the mobile internet. The project focused on virtual reality has yet to catch on with users. Now, a Meta spokesperson says the company is shifting investment from the Metaverse group towards hardware, like AI glasses. Wall Street reacted favorably, with Meta stock jumping 3.4% on Thursday. For 40 years, it has been one of San Francisco's most unmistakable holiday traditions, a nutcracker that never does the same show twice. As our Itai Hod reports, this weekend, the dance-along Nutcracker is clicking its heels straight into Oz.
For decades, orchestras around the world have rung in the holidays the same way, with a rumble of tuning and Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker just beginning to stir. But here in the heart of San Francisco, that very familiar score is about to take an undeniably wicked turn.
This year, we're going to go into the magical world of Oz.
Whenever I see someone.
Michael Wong is the guest conductor of this year's Dance-Along Nutcracker. The holiday show where audiences don't just watch, they join in.
Dancing through life.
And this time, it's heading straight down the yellow brick road.
How does Wicked and the Nutcracker go together?
Well, honestly, it really doesn't. The Nutcracker, if you think about it, doesn't really have much of a story. So every year we create a theme where Clara and Fritz
go through some magical adventure.
Started in the 80s by the San Francisco Pride Band, the first openly gay music organization in the world, the dance-along began as an event for LGBTQ adults, until families started showing up. By the 90s, kids were twirling down the aisles, and the show became one of the city's most inclusive holiday traditions.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day.
This is cast member Zelda Koznovsky's 9th year, and her first as the villain.
How do you play a good villain?
How do you play a good villain?
You go like this a lot?
Yes.
Proceeds from the show help fund the band's free performances. But with the LGBTQ community facing its own kind of cyclone, this year's celebration lands with even more purpose.
There have been times where we're like, do we even need a queer band anymore? But with recent politics, it's much more important to really own who we are.
And if they get it right, the only thing melting this weekend will be the audience's hearts.
Wicked Dance-Along Nutcracker runs this weekend with 2 performances, on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. It is at the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts Forum. Coming up on Pix Plus 44 Cable 12, another ski resort opening up after its delayed start to the season. We're live with the general manager of Kirkwood Mountain Resort with what you can expect if you're hitting the slopes this weekend. And it is Forever Friday. Bay Area baseball legends Tony La Russa and our friends from the Muttville Senior Dog Rescue will join us in studio to chat about how you can help give some adorable pets a forever home. And let's give you a beautiful live look outside. The sunrise, majestic on this Friday morning. We hope to see you over on Pix Plus 44 Cable 12. Jess will have your weather forecast and what you need to know as you head out the door. 44 Cable 12.